Hello, everybody, and welcome back to more of the Agent series. We're on our final episode of the Interlude. I know, finally, it's been a while. So I'm here on my ship with Koliya and his stylish, awesome, white, scaling, awesome gear of Doom and awesomeness. So let's talk about the Agent story a little bit, right? Because that's what we need to do. We need to talk about kind of what happened at the end, because we didn't really get a chance to do that with all the companion talking we had to do. And we'll talk about the end of the Trellis of Eidolon, because that's very important to the kind of how his story progresses. We're going to talk about what happens after the end of Chapter 3, which is like when he becomes a ghost, and what happens with that, and then talk a little bit about the twist at the end of Chapter 3 and what's next as far as Star Wars content goes, and the new schedule for videos. So there's a lot of really cool stuff here. But we kind of primarily have to talk about I guess, the way that he transitions in the story, right? Because there's, you guys have all seen my legacy tree before. Now, the way the Trellis of the Eidolon ends, there's a gap between the end of Trellis of the Eidolon and the beginning of Chapter 1, right? There's a pretty huge gap. It's like a couple of years. So what happens is, if you haven't gone and read the Trellis of the Eidolon series, do that on OSWnetwork.com. The last one was just posted, so you should be able to view all of that. But what happens at the end is, you have this part where this operation that kind of happened without Koliya knowing, even though he was trying to do the exact same thing, fails, right? And because it fails, you have this weird, awkward situation where Roshack gets away again, which is what he tends to do, and Koliya pretty much for the last time says, "Okay, you know what? I can't do this on my own. I can't do this the way I am currently. I need to go and get better at certain things." So he decides to join Imperial Intelligence. Actually, he joins the Imperial Army, but that quickly promotes him to Imperial Intelligence. So over 2 years, he becomes an agent, and then that's when the beginning of Chapter 1 starts. So that's how that kind of ties together. So that end mission in Trellis of the Eidolon it's a huge failure, and it happens pretty suddenly, and he's kind of shocked by it. And then you have him coming in into intelligence within 2 years, learning all of the ropes, becoming a really good agent because he's trained by the best. And I mean, you have their training regime, which gives him that weird like code word and everything. So that all happens during those 2 years, so he could be mind controlled, when we get into Chapter 2 and all of that fun stuff. So that's how that bridges together. There's a 2 year gap. Now what happens at the end of Chapter 3, we'll talk about after we're done talking about Chapter 3. So if you remember correctly, we go to the Shadow Cabal, or the Star Cabal's like headquarters, right? And Hunter's there, and we show up, and there's a ton of them. We take out a ton of the people from the Star Cabal, and then we are able to identify some of the people who are there on like holocall because of Keeper, which is awesome. So we're able to do that, and then we go and we take out Hunter. And there's a weird twist there that we're going to talk about. However, taking out Hunter allows us to get the codex, Black Codex, and with the codex we're able to learn a lot of stuff, because we get back to the space station and the old Minister of Intelligence, right? He gives us the opportunity to take that Black Codex and learn from it, and then basically erase my data of my character ever existing. So Koliya then becomes a ghost, and he's pretty much free-willed at that point. There's nobody that can ever prove his existence, even if they saw me, and then there's also nobody who can really touch him. So in that codex, what ends up happening is he finds out information. We kind of talked about this, that Roshack is still alive and well and in the galaxy causing mayhem, but that the Star Cabal, and we haven't talked about this, had been keeping tabs on him and had tried to control him because he was causing a bit of a ruckus in the Republic, which was going to spoil their plans, making the Republic and the Empire attack each other, because he was just going to wipe out one of the two. It doesn't matter which one. He was just going to wipe it out at the rate he was going. So they tried to restrain Roshack. Roshack then, breaks free of all of that. So he's free of the Star Cabal. He doesn't know that they're trying to control him. But what happens is Koliya is able to see all this information and be like, okay, well, and this is what happens, now, basically at the end, right when I said, is Koliya going to tell his crew about the Roshack thing? That he hasn't told any of them yet. So it's kind of this awkward situation of like, does he let him know, or let all of his crew know the plans that's about to happen? Because this is going to get really messy. He's got Roshack on the run, and if he can't get his team behind him to take Roshack down, then there's probably no way he's going to do it, especially at the rate that Roshack has grown in power. And we learned kind of about that power because Roshack grabbed the relic at the end of the Trellis of Eidolon, and obviously he's figured out a way to use it by now. So it's kind of messy, this situation. And Koliya knows that he probably won't be able to take Roshack on alive. But here's the thing. At the beginning of the Trellis of the Eidolon series, we learned that Koliya didn't necessarily just want to kill Roshack, because that would be silly. You've got this situation where, you have Roshack, who, if he died, it almost would be a benefit to him, because he's just kind of like in this awkward state of being, evil, that he may just wipe everything out. So you kind of wonder, like, if the light side part of him, which still exists in there, is like screaming out for help, but can't do anything because the dark-sided part of him is, causing a lot of mayhem. So what happens is Koliya knows that he may not be able to just kill Roshack straight up. So what happens? Now, this is the important bit that you guys keep asking. So this is how Koliya becomes the manipulator of my entire legacy. Because in that Black Codex, he finds out that Roshack does not know he has a son, right? And Koliya learns that he actually met this guy when he was on Hutta, when this all began. So it all comes back to the beginning. So he figures out, okay, I can befriend this guy because I actually did meet him there. So he gets a hold of this bounty hunter, and they befriend each other. They become friends. And Koliya, during all of chapter 3 on, right at the end of chapter 3, kind of helps the bounty hunter with his stuff, and because he's now a ghost, he doesn't exist. He's able to help the bounty hunter progress through his life and move on, like, what's the best way to put this? And create a legacy, right? Because him and Mako, they don't have a kid until after the end of the Bounty Hunters chapter 3. But technically, all of that stuff isn't going to happen, because we do plan to do a bounty hunter for the series eventually. So let's just say that him and Mako have a child, right? So they have Jonas and Carter, which we know about. Koliya helps smuggle them out of the Empire, so he helps with all of that. Believe it or not, Koliya actually sets Laren up with Jonas without him knowing, which creates these two down here. Koliya tries to save Adria from becoming a Sith, but is unable to do that because it's kind of her own decision at that point. And he does set Saber up to become a Jedi, but he gets Gin into Imperial Intelligence, and she becomes an operative. So it's kind of like this cool, because he has the Codex, and because he technically does not exist anymore, the only real people who know about him are Keeper, the old Imperial, or the old intelligence guy, the Keeper of Intelligence, whatever his name is, Minister of Intelligence, that's it, and Roshack. Or not Roshack. Well, yeah, actually Roshack knows he exists, and the bounty hunter, and then you have all of the people that have come in contact with his crew that know he exists. But it's a very small group of people, right? So he's able to kind of move freely within the Empire and the Republic and cause all this to happen. The reason he does is because he learns that from reading the Codex that Roshack still has a good bit of him. So Koliya wants to make things right by making the legacy kind of have a purpose. Now, it's going to serve Koliya's own purpose, because Koliya's whole goal here, it may be to create a cool legacy, but is to bring down Roshack through his children, his offspring. And he's eventually wants to turn all of these people against Roshack. That's the goal, because if he could do that, then he's got a kind of a weak point, because Roshack still has no idea that he has a child, right? So this is kind of how this all fits together. So now Koliya can move freely within this legacy and create it the way he wants to, in order to try to destroy Roshack in the future. So that's kind of his goals. So that explains all of that. But there's a lot more to be explained, because we are going to do a Juggernaut and we are going to do a Bounty Hunter, and we'll talk about that in a bit here. But what we need to move on to is the end of Chapter 3, right? The end of Chapter 3 had like the weirdest, like, you guys know, I think the Agent story is the second best next to the Smuggler, but the end has like this really weird, almost forced twist, and that is that Hunter is actually a female. Like, what kind of twist is that to begin with? It's almost like they felt like they needed a twist there, so what they ended up doing was they just made it so Hunter was a female. Like, this, it doesn't, like, I guess it works, but it doesn't really work as like a good twist. Like, I wasn't like, oh geez, it's a female, that changes everything, you know? So I felt it was kind of pushed and ham-fisted and that kind of thing, but for the most part, it is kind of cool how Hunter does, like, if you're playing a male character, at least express her love for you, and you're like, this is awkward, and you could actually act on that, but either way, Hunter ends up dying there, so it's one of those strange twists that I don't see why it was there, although I do enjoy it, so it's kind of like a double-edged sword there. So with all that said, I think the Agent story is really good. You guys seem to have really liked it. You guys liked how it kind of pieces together, and there's a lot more stuff there that we're going to talk about in the future of how it pieces together even better. So I kept a lot of the stuff out that I was going to talk about, because the next thing that we are going to do with the Star Wars series, like with kind of the story stuff, is going to be the Juggernaut. But this brings us into kind of what's next with Star Wars and with the new video schedule. So currently, we're not going to start the next like story series with the Juggernaut for quite some time, and the reason why is because if you haven't watched the vlog from a couple weeks ago, you probably should, but I talked about how we're going to move into doing a new series of guides, and it's going to be this really awesome set of guides that teach you guys how to be better players, regardless if you're a new player to the game or you've been playing MMOs for 10 plus years. You're going to learn something from these guides, because I'm going to go through everything. I'm going to go through the basics of, you know, creating a character and creating the legacy and how the legacy system works and all that fun stuff in Star Wars, as to, you know, the more advanced stuff like binding hotkeys. Like, you see this, it says down, page up, left arrow, clear, right arrow, home, up arrow. That's not because I have that bound as my keyboard stuff. It's actually bound there because that's bound to my Naga. So teaching you guys how to, you know, get specific sets of gear, like good keyboards, good mices, not just the Razer stuff. That is good, but there are other options out there for MMOs. And then how to do advanced key bindings, how to move. You know, that's a basic thing that you would assume how to do, like, you know, moving forward, moving left, and moving right. But most people don't know that you're not supposed to back up, because look how slow this is compared to just strafing. Right, so strafing is a more efficient way of moving, even though you can do basically the exact same thing. So there's a lot there to talk about on, you know, advanced tactics and how to get into raids and how to raid well and how group dynamic works and even how to be a leader of a group. And there's, like I said, there's a lot of stuff there that you guys will learn through the series. It is going to be quite a long series, and those videos will be going up on Mondays and Tuesdays. So you'll get 2 guides a week, Monday and Tuesday. They'll be quite good. They'll vary, but as we go along, they'll get more and more advanced. So it'll be kind of like a, you know, you start with the basic stuff and you work your way to the advanced stuff. So it may take a couple weeks for, you know, more advanced players to get more out of it, but you should still be able to get some stuff out of like the first few videos. Like, the first video is all about how the business model works for Star Wars, and you know, how to effectively use cartel coins if you're going to do that kind of thing, when to subscribe, when not to subscribe, that kind of thing. And it's going to be really good. So those will be going up on Tuesday, Wednesdays, which means Thursday, Friday, or Monday, Tuesday. So that means Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, there we go, is going to be Dragon Age for the time being, because we need to get through Origins, and that is a very long game, so it's going to take us a while. So we're going to do 3 episodes a week now, Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays, and then Saturday and Sunday, Garrick and I are doing a Amnesia series. So with the new Amnesia game, he's actually streaming it to me so I can watch it, and we're doing dual commentary. So it's a bit more dynamic. It's a lot of fun. We recorded some of it this week, and it's going to be good. I think you guys are really going to like it. So that's how the new schedule is going to work. Saturday, Sunday is going to be Amnesia. Monday, Tuesday is going to be the Star Wars guides, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is going to be Dragon Age, and then you'll get peppered stuff in there, like the patch 2.4 content will be just on random days when I get it up. And then when we get into October, patch 1.2 for Terraria comes out, so we plan on doing a series with that because it significantly changes the game. Like over 1,000 items were added, so it'll be really fun to kind of check that out. And then lastly, you've got the different Star Wars series coming up with the Juggernaut and the Bounty Hunter, but those won't be until the end of the Star Wars stuff, and that'll all be changing. And then lastly, the last thing you guys need to know about is that the look of the channel, the look of the website, everything with that is getting ready to change. So you'll notice the stuff on the channel first, so the intro, the new navigation panel at the end, the icons for all of our stuff, like all of the channel art, everything is about to change, even the Twitter icons and stuff like that. It's all going to change to a new style, and I think you guys are really going to like it, but we'll get to that, and you should see it for the first time, at least the new intro, on Friday, or Saturday on the new Amnesia stuff, so it should be good. But with that being said, we've talked for long enough about the Agent stuff. If you guys have any questions on the Agent series, please ask them. Give me any feedback of what you think I should have done differently in the series. I pretty much took all your feedback from last time, and it seems like every time I get feedback from you guys, you give me less and less because I'm doing more and more of that feedback. For instance, the gear switching, the using more of my companions throughout the thing, that kind of stuff. So if you have any feedback for the next set of series, let me know, and we'll change it when we get to the Juggernaut. But you'll know the Juggernaut is coming because I will definitely hype it up and give you guys a trailer and all that fun stuff. But keep an eye out on the channel because these guides are going to be some of the greatest Star Wars content we've put out. And there's some really cool stuff coming that I'm excited to show you guys. But on that note, I think we shall see you guys next time.